All right, now that you've watched the video Introduction to Existentialism, I want to talk just for a few minutes about how to write your paper. So your Unit 5 paper, Chapter 38 or 6, is requiring that you read one of the following plays, poems, or novels, and then explain the specific elements that make the work existential. And so you want to use those terms that I just talked to you about: angst, anxiety, absurdity. Okay, and so you're going to include in the beginning of your paper a definition of existentialism in your own words. And then you want to acknowledge the historical and cultural context of the work. So whichever of these works you choose, you want to make sure that you are explaining what time period it was written in, and maybe a little bit of background about the author and what was happening during that time period. So Jean-Paul Sartre, either No Exit or Nausea; Albert Camus, The Stranger or the Plague; Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot, that's a play that you can watch or read. Nabokov's Lolita, that is a very disturbing work where you will start to identify with the anti-hero, and it's a story of a pedophile, and he falls in love with this young girl, Lolita, and because it's from his point of view, you start to sympathize with some of his decisions, which makes you have some very strange feelings as you're reading. So not a book for the faint of heart. Jack Kerouac, On the Road, is one of the beat poets, but he definitely has some existential themes. Allen Ginsberg wrote Howl, which is a poem that was banned because of its graphic nature, so you can definitely connect some of the existential themes in that. And then Tom Stoppard wrote the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Many of these are available as free PDFs in Blackboard. Okay, so just a little bit about each one of these authors. So one of your choices was Samuel Beckett, and Beckett's two-act play is a story of Vladimir and Estragon, and the two of them are waiting and waiting and waiting for someone that never shows up. Okay. One of the other, so the two assignments that you'll have to do in order to get credit for the class, you're going to have to read the speech by Albert Camus, and that's his acceptance speech. He won the Nobel Prize, and it's his acceptance speech. So as you're reading that, try to identify any of the elements of existentialism. You're going to find them, just list the quotes as you read. The interesting thing about Camus, he was born in Algeria in 1913. His father died in World War I. When Camus died in 1960, he died in a car crash with a train ticket in his pocket. And so he made a choice, obviously, to not take the train and to take the car, and he died. So, he had kind of an existential death because of the fact that he made these choices. So that's a little bit about Camus. And then the other activity that you'll need to do is you're going to read some quotes by J.D. Salinger in his novel, The Catcher in the Rye. The Catcher in the Rye is an existential novel about a high school student, Holden Caulfield, and there's lots of angst, lots of anxiety. Holden's constantly worried about phonies and authenticity. So I want you to read those quotes. And I think I said 3. So pick out 3 of the quotes and identify which characteristic of existentialism it displays. Okay, so you've got a couple things to do, and I won't see you for another week. But what you need to do is read the Camus speech. It's located in Blackboard. You're also going to read the quotes from Catcher in the Rye. And you're going to identify the elements of existentialism in both. Normally I do this right during the class period, so watching this little video and doing these 2 activities should not take you more than 75 minutes. You're going to submit that assignment to me. Do that by Tuesday at midnight. Normally you would do that during class time, so I'm giving you to the end of the day. And then your paper, lots of you need to do this paper, so I think you're going to do great. Just identify the elements of existentialism, and that's due at the end of the week on Sunday. All right, and I will see you next week. Happy reading.